Welcome to Pixarize's scene for vitamin B5, or pantothenic acid, part of our series on the vitamins. There aren't a ton of things you need to know about vitamin B5, and this scene is going to go by pretty quick. Which is good, because it takes place during a hyper-competitive game of lawn sports, and our main character is making us pretty uncomfortable. So let's get going. Alright, first things first. I need to point out that this is a moment worth relishing. We've finally gotten to vitamin B5. And you might be wondering why that's so momentous. After all, there's a bunch more vitamins left to learn. And you're right. But let's think back to our previous B vitamins. There was vitamin B1, symbolized by a bee gun, vitamin B2, or bee shoe, vitamin B3, a bee tree. But now, finally, we get to use Pixarize's symbol for the number 5, hive! Beehive! It's so perfectly fitting, isn't that awesome? Okay, I'm done. We can continue. So, beehive, or B5, is also known as pantothenic acid. To combine these two names, we've given our main character some dope beehive pattern pants. Beehive or B5, and pants for pantothenic acid. If you don't already have pantothenic acid pants on your Amazon wishlist, I suggest you go add them right now. Now, who is this stylish young lass, and what is she doing out in this lush greenery? Well, she's an amateur croquet player. You know, the game that everyone screwed around with once or twice as a kid and then forgot it existed? Yeah, well, don't tell her you don't respect croquet athletes. She's clearly taking it very seriously. This scene is all about croquet to remind us of CoA, or coenzyme A. Vitamin B5 is an essential component of croquet-CoA, and CoA is an essential cofactor for a ton of important acyl group transfer reactions. If you've gotten through the biochemistry basics, you're probably particularly familiar with acetyl-CoA, the primary input in the citric acid cycle. In addition to CoA, pantothenic acid is a key component of fatty acid synthase, which, as the name implies, is the major enzymatic complex catalyzing the synthesis of fatty acids. We've represented fatty acid synthase with this big tub of sour cream, which awaits our croquet competitors. Because, sour cream is by definition a fatty cream chock full of acid. A great symbol for fatty acid synthase. I really hope she isn't just going to eat that sour cream fatty acid synthase raw, though, because that sounds putrid. Moving on, let's talk about some of the symptoms seen in vitamin B5 deficiency. First, take a look at our main character's arm. It looks like she forgot the sunscreen today, and it's a hot one. Her sunburned arm is red and flaky to remind us of dermatitis, which is commonly seen in vitamin B5 deficiency. Next, if we look at our croquet player's head, we can see that she was so incensed at her opponent for knocking away her ball that she's torn off her hat and a big chunk of her hair. Actually, I'm not totally sure if that's why she's mad. I don't know the rules of croquet, and to be honest, I am not ashamed of that. Anyway, she's enraged for one reason or another, and now she's given herself a bald spot. This is to represent the alopecia that vitamin B5 deficiency can cause. Next, let's take a closer look at that hat she has in a death grip. Recognize it? Yep, it's our recurring symbol for the adrenal gland cap. And she is squeezing the living daylights out of that thing. This should help us remember that vitamin B5 deficiency can lead to adrenal insufficiency. Finally, take a gander at that porta-john nearby. Now the fatty acid synthase sour cream makes more sense. It wasn't for our players. It was being eaten by the poor soul inside that porta-john. And judging by the overflowing diarrhea coming out of the door, I think we can safely say it did not agree with him. This vile mental image is there to represent the enteritis and inflammatory diarrhea that often accompanies a vitamin B5 deficiency. It should also make you feel better about studying right now, since you'd probably rather be studying than having horrible diarrhea in a public porta potty. And that's really it. Vitamin B5 is nice and easy. Now, go crush those step questions on pantothenic acid the way our croquet player is going to crush all of her old trophies when she gets home after this bitter loss. Or maybe pulling your hair out of your own head is just part of the game. Seriously, I have no idea what croquet is supposed to look like. Well, until next time.